Welcome to episode 19 of the Women's Cricket Podcast, the show where we talk about all things women's cricket. Like always, we've got Neha Shetty with us. Neha, bhai, काफी time हो गया. Something we keep saying now, it's sort of become more of a norm, but unfortunate as it may, hopefully, greener pastures ahead. How's it been so far?
Hi, actually, really happy to be here. And the Women's Cricket Podcast is such an interesting thing that we are doing. And I'm glad that, come the following month, we will be more regular with our episodes. But at least on the women's cricket front, again, not much to complain because there have been a lot of series that's happening. The Indian team, did really well in the tri-series.
Yep.
I wish we could have had a discussion a little earlier on that regard. But in general too, right, there's a lot happening. In spite of the IPL, there's still like a lot of focus here. So yeah, a lot of excitement in our conversation ahead.
Definitely. I mean, that way, I don't think we've been completely devoid of women's cricket, be it Team India or otherwise. So, something that fans of the sport won't be complaining about. But since you mentioned the tri-series, let's probably just start from there. Like you said, we last did an episode during the first half, after the end of the first half of the tri-series. So, maybe we'll just not exactly review it, talk about some of our observations and then take it to, of course, the squad, which is the major talking point. India did announce their squads for the T20I and the ODI series a month and a half in advance, Neha. I don't think that's ever happened before.
Yeah, an absolute shocker in that regard. Did not see it coming for a minute. I'm like, is this like a fake thing that's just come up online?
Oh.
But the moment, you realize there's like a verified tick and all of that, you realize, okay, it's for real. Not a lot of shocking calls in that regard. At least we see some consistency in selection. I think we will debate further on whether, they were the right calls, not the right calls.
Yeah.
But at least there is some semblance of continuity and consistency, which was, a major talking point. Now that we are probably very happy with them, but at least in that regard, it's good. And the fact that the squad has been announced well in advance at least gives the girls some time to, mentally prepare for a series of this nature. There might be a lot of camps too in that regard. So just keeping my fingers crossed that, we are heading in the right direction with the squad announcement happening so much in advance, which we are not used to as Indian fans, I suppose.
I mean, I hope this becomes a standard practice. Maybe not a month and a half in advance, but at least I would say 3 to 4 weeks in advance so that, like you said, the players are also given enough time to not just let it sink in process, but also train accordingly and be at their best. Yeah, exactly. Best possible version, so to say, so that they can perform well for Team India. And the earlier point that you mentioned about, I do agree with you on not necessarily agreeing with them, but that's not the point here, right? Like something that even Nikhil Bhai and I, during our Monday Night Live episodes, something that the both of us have spoken about time and time again is what we strive for, what we look for is consistency.
Yeah.
We might not agree with the players you pick, which is perfectly fine because whatever, we are not privy to the conversations happening there, that's perfectly fine. But consistency दिखा, अगर आपने किसी एक player को pick किया है, तो then show us that you are going to back her and give her a long enough run to just decide one way or the other. You know what, okay, we've given her a decent shot. Maybe she's not there yet, so let her go back to the domestic circuit. And yeah, exactly. And on the other hand, camps and all of it are necessary because I don't think as a team and individually as players, we are there yet where, players can just come in and perform.
Yeah.
So it is important, especially some of the new names that they've been picking, the likes of Tejal Hasabnas, Shuchi Upadhyay, Sri Charni, youngsters like them, Sayali Sadgare. It is important that, camps are conducted so they understand what it takes to perform well at the highest level of international cricket. It's one thing to do well, at the domestic level or even WPL to some extent, but it's a completely different beast, international cricket that is. So it is important. I agree with you and I hope the camps also start soon enough. Let's, of course, have the squads out now. There you can see as you go, Harmanpreet Kaur, like always, the usual suspects there, along with Smriti Mandhana, the vice captain, Pratika Rawal, Harleen Deol, Jemmy, Richa, Yastika, Tejal and Deepti cap off the batting order there. And then you've got bowling options in Sneh Rana, Sri Charni, Shuchi Upadhyay, Amanjot Kaur, Arundhati Reddy, Kranti Gaur and Sayali Sadgare. Neha, talking about India's ODI squad, happy with the picks?
I think in all fairness, Akshay, I'm quite happy with this because one, I think, the operative word here being consistency from that, tri-series that we had. So a lot of the names continue to, mark their presence here with respect to them getting opportunities or not sure about that. A tad bit disappointed to still see the likes of Renuka Singh Thakur, Kashvi Gautam, Titash Sadhu, all of them missing out, right, because of injury, which is unfortunate, but that's how the game is, right? We still have to find a way. And even I think you pointing to Shreyanka
Yeah,
Patil,
exactly. I was
missing
like, how
out.
can you miss out?
Probably what is more concerning is the fact that there's just no timeline as to when are they going to return or what is the injury, what is the extent
Yeah.
of the injury. I think that level of transparency as fans, at least we expect. Again, this is me going on a tangent, but then these injuries are definitely a massive dampener because as we head to the World Cup, you need, the more likely playing 15 or playing 11 to, kind of shape up in that regard, not just, have replacements come in. Nice to see the likes of Saili Sadgare also getting included, right? I think you had some very interesting opinions when she was playing that series versus Ireland, no? Where
Yeah,
she didn't
yeah.
have that great of a return. Saima Thakur doesn't mark her presence here. Again, to see the longer rope being given to the likes of Sri Charni and Shuchi Upadhyay, who had a decent try series. It wasn't great in that regard, but something.
श्री यार शुचि खेली कहाँ उतना
हाँ.
मतलब कुछ बोलने के लिए
Exactly. Too
So,
soon to comment
yeah.
without having that sort of a sample size. And considering India is not looking at probably the likes of Tanuja Kanwar and
Which
Priya
is,
Mishra.
I'm sorry, I'll just have to interrupt you there. That's the disappointing part. Priya Mishra, firstly, the last series she played in Australia was pretty good. I mean, last overseas tour that is in
Exactly.
Australia, she was pretty good,
One
to
of
be
the biggest
honest.
positives also.
Yeah, and the fact that now they've just let her high and dry, we just don't know what's happened. Again, is it an injury concern or they just feel, we don't need a wrist spinner in our lineup? Like you mentioned,
Tanuja?
Tanuja to bhai, even bigger miss. Like Priya Mishra I started off with because she's a youngster.
Yeah.
It's important that she is at least in the know-how of what's happening.
Yeah.
She's being kept in the loop. If not us, at least she's being communicated to, कि you know what, आपको ये चीजों पे focus करना चाहिए. Please improve on these aspects and then you'd be a much more improved cricketer and that would help Team India. But we don't know. And in all fairness, having seen how the management has functioned in the recent past, there's very, very little reason to believe that they would have done something like that, firstly.
Yeah.
Secondly, Tanuja Kanwar, according to me, is arguably one of India's better slow left armers. I'm just surprised to say the least and shocked, to be very, very, very blunt, that she's not been even picked. No disrespect to Shuchi Upadhyay, no disrespect to even Sri Charni. Sri Charni, theek hai, WPL खेली, has a nice action, looked pretty decent for someone who's young, also adds batting value, ठीक है. आपको एक और extra slow left armer लेके जाना है, समझ में आता है. Shuchi Upadhyay, what about her made you think, she is the person for ODI cricket? I don't know. I get it that you did punt or take a punt on Pratika Rawal. It's come good really well for you. So, which is why I get that. I get it. You know what? You'll have to give them the benefit of doubt. They did back one player. She's come good. So, this is another player they're probably looking to back. But Shuchi did not get any game time during the try series. Now, my question is, अगर बैकअप ही चाहिए जो स्क्वाड में रहेगी, तनुजा ने क्या किया? What did Tanuja do to receive the axe?
Yeah.
The burden of proof is not on Shuchi Upadhyay ki wo kyun hai. The burden of proof right now on the management is to say why has Tanuja Kanwar been dropped?
I mean, unless there's an injury that they're not talking to us about, or there are some other disciplinary
हर
or
चीज पे तो
fitness issues.
see that logic तो can be applied for anyone.
Anything, yeah.
So we just don't know. That's the information asymmetry we're talking about, where there's very little information given to us as fans, and there's a lot of information that's being withheld by the management, by the board, unnecessarily, if we may add. It's not like this is information, this is classified information or something like that. तो क्यों कर रहे हो आप?
And Akshay, even just talking about another name, Pooja Vastrakar, right? I mean, I just find it extremely shocking that she was injured. She didn't make it to India's squads for a couple of series. But now, even in the announcement, we just don't see a mention of her being injured. So is she like dropped? What is happening?
आशा पूजा हो गया अभी, मतलब टाइम खत्म है कि क्या? आशा ठीक है, फिर भी समझ में आता है. Age wasn't on her side, still isn't. So they probably are looking past her with the youngsters like Priya Mishra coming in.
Yeah.
Pooja Vastrakar, no clue, absolutely no clue. Did not even play the WPL. What's the status on her? Can we expect her to be back for the ODI World Cup? What are the contingency plans? Who else are they looking at? So does that mean Arundhati Reddy is now a walk-in? We genuinely don't know.
Yeah, because just looking at India's space attack as well, right? When you look at the squad, I mean, who is going to constitute that? You have the likes of Kranti Gaud, you have Arundhati Reddy. But again, it's just putting an onus on these young bowlers to deliver, right? When you don't have the likes of Renuka Singh Thakur, maybe if the conditions are, offering something for other paces, you'd probably also want to include someone like Saili Sadgare too, because she has more experience. But then again, India's pace attack just looks extremely thin and quite concerning. And considering we have just so many injuries too, it's just probably making it all the more confusing in that regard.
Add to that the fact that they will be playing in England, which is a lot more swing friendly, seamer friendly.
Yeah.
It is bizarre that we are going ahead with a 4-woman pace attack that consists of Kranti Gaud, Saili Sadgare, Amanjot Kaur and Arundhati Reddy. I'm sorry to say, I can't wrap my head around that. Like,
Not giving a lot of confidence at the moment.
literally no confidence. And this is why what happened to Shabnam Shakil. Sure, she wasn't in the greatest of form recently. World Cup ho, WPL में भी वो ज़्यादा कुछ खेला नहीं उन्होंने. But just take at least another couple of paces. What are you going to do with just 4 paces? 2 of whom are like Amanjot Kaur in my head as a batting all-rounder. Saili Sadkare is more of a bits and pieces cricketer. So you're going with only 2 frontline pacers in Kranti Gaud and Arundhati Reddy. I don't know. I get it. Titash is injured. I get it. Renuka is also injured. I'm sorry to say there might be a bit of bias too over here, but considering the conditions, and I know she had a terrible WPL.
I see where this is going.
Yeah, I don't know if this could have been considered, but punt le hi rahe ho. So if Shuchi Upadhyay is worth a punt, which she might be, I'm not saying she isn't. Don't you think Joshita with the ability to move the ball, तो कौन है? पेसर कौन है? Akshita Maheshwari लेके जाना था.
To be honest, I was actually going to say the same, and I don't know if fans will agree with me. It might be going a little bit in the past, but Shikha Pandey would have been an amazing
Baba,
choice.
World Cup.
But ये England series के नजरिए
You
से
can't.
I felt.
No, see, it cannot be a stopgap solution. It cannot be an ad hoc solution just for the England series. Whatever they think of, whoever they consider, it is also
With the aim of the World
Yeah.
Cup. So you think Saili Sadgare will be a part of that 15 once the likes
I
of
hope
Renuka,
not.
Titash and all come back? I don't think so.
yeah, exactly.
It's difficult, right, to ascertain that. So I felt Shikha would have been a good stopgap arrangement. She's played in England. She knows
But
the
we don't
conditions
want stopgap arrangements, na. That's the reason they've gone for youngsters. They've gone for youngsters because they know कि ज़्यादा कुछ नहीं तो we can groom them, bring them into the mold and see where they are at and all of it. And again,
This is again a very idealistic take you have, because the moment they underperform, they're just thrown out of the team. There's no way of coming
Correct.
back to, right? We've seen that happen with so many pacers in the past. So again, I understand where your optimism is coming from, but then Akshay, I think
no, I'm just looking at the conditions,
Fair.
looking at the potential, looking at age being on her side. Of course, make no mistake, I'll be the first one to admit that she had a very poor outing in the WPL, so I'm not going to deny that.
Yeah.
But तो फिर कौन? Sama Thakur का भी क्या हुआ पता नहीं. I know she wasn't good at all during the WPL or even before that India Island series, India West Indies maybe.
Very.
Yeah. So I get all of that. तो फिर है कौन? तो किसी को नहीं लेके जाना है क्या? When you're going to a place where
Yeah.
conditions are expected to favor seamers or pacers, you should be at least loading your squad with a couple more options.
But Akshay, here, do you really think that having, say, an A series would have really helped India, test a few players, just have them test the waters and see how things are? That way you can experiment with more players and see if you can just, front load them. into your
Ideally,
squad
yeah,
as well,
something that England did when they toured India in 2023. There was that T20I series that played between India and England. Unfortunately, that's not happened now. But so, who are the other pacers then? Yeah, come to think of it, they're very little. Like, kya, matlab, if,
Meghna Singh, just to trigger you, yeah.
yeah, okay.
I think at this point he might just stop the podcast, but on
I
a lighter
might,
note,
yeah,
he was just
yeah.
asking for options, right? Like,
Yeah, options अगर सोचें तो कौन है domestic में भी कौन है in the recent past जो WPL में भी खेले, maybe someone like a Komal comes to mind. There's also Shraddha Pokharkar, both are left armers, but both of them haven't done
a lot.
done enough to merit
A place in the
a call up.
international
Exactly.
side,
So that's there. Shikha Pandey probably is then a fallback option, but if they are going to consider Shikha Pandey, then it has to be with the idea कि you know what, अगर वो अच्छा करती है World Cup में भी उनको लेके जाएंगे. And there's no reason to not do that because it's a 6-month thing.
Yeah.
World Cup के बाद नया cycle है तो आप वैसे भी you can go ahead with new
Fresh
players.
changes,
Yeah.
Because I like the way Sneh Rana has kind of made her presence in the team.
Oh.
I mean, the kind of comeback she's had, she was amazing in the tri-series. I think you would have more to add in that regard as well. I think she's pretty much a sure shot for that World Cup. She hasn't done anything wrong. Because the moment you saw the likes of, Shriyanka Patil come into the setup, I really felt, Sneh Rana, the white ball player, was just, falling out of contention. But the way she just went back to the domestic, stuck to her basics, and the way she has executed and kind of just manifested this comeback, I think she's a sure shot for the World Cup. It's like an absolute no-brainer.
And again, in all fairness, it wasn't even like last domestic season where you could see the changes. So apparently in the off season, she had trained with the likes of Ravi Chandran Ashwin, had clearly, taken a lot of, lessons in terms of how to develop herself. Ashwin himself is, sort of, what do you
Like
say?
he's reimagined himself like in so many ways, like reworked on a lot of his aspects.
Yeah.
right?
I mean, Ashwin himself is no stranger to acquiring new skills and sort of keep improving as a cricketer. Snehra Anna, we've spoken it in some of our previous episodes as well. In the WPL, the way she was bowling, she was so crafty, so creative, so innovative in the way she bowled, coming up with different lines, coming up with different trajectories, bowling from behind the umpire, bowling in front of the batters, coming up with negative lines, and some of the length she bowled. She had those variations. I genuinely loved. I thoroughly enjoyed watching Snehra Anna bowl.
She added with the bat as well, right?
We all remember the 5 ball 26, if I'm not wrong, versus Deepthi. Yeah. Again, fantastic performance. They're just sort of, going from strength to strength. And right now, I think she is going to be a sure shot selection for the World Cup, considering the conditions once again. And also the fact that Shriyanka Patil in all likelihood is ruled out of the World Cup because this series mein to nahi hai. That leaves us with just the 3 ODIs against Australia before the World Cup, which is very little game time to see if someone's ready for the World Cup. So, Snehra Anna, massive shout out to her. But apart from that, what are some of the other players you are looking forward to? In the India-England series, ODIs, of course, sticking to the ODIs right now. Pratika Rawal.
I think yes. During the tri-series, she probably again, had a very decent run. I remember reading Gaurav's article as well, where he spoke about not being too impressed with Pratika and Harleen, the kind of starts they had, or the fact that they were just taking a lot of time to settle in and get those runs. So Pratika, again, I think this will be an important tour for her to see where she kind of goes from here, because again, you had a lot of fans questioning why she was included. Shefali Verma has been included in the T20 side of things, but not in the ODIs, which continues to show the unstinted support that the management has in her abilities. Even Deepti Sharma, man, someone I'm really excited to see in England because she's played, for the London Spirit.
Retained, only Indian to be retained. Yeah, and now only Indian to be playing the 100, if I'm not wrong, this season.
Yeah.
So
that's something, right? So I'm very excited to see how she kind of fares. And even Amanjot Kaur, man, the way she kind of, was burdening the responsibilities of the pace attack in the tri-series was quite impressive, and she just time and again shows you why she's such a crucial asset to the Indian team. I know we did have some reservations against some of her slower balls and those cutters that she was bowling in 2023 was it? Australia.
Yep.
We were not very happy with that, but then again, the kind of season she had for Mumbai and translating that for India as well makes me, just want to keep my eyes on her and 100%. She continues well.
And I hope Team India also looks at her as a batting all-rounder. She's not someone who necessarily has to bowl game in, game out. At least that's the impression I've gotten of her and the way she bowls especially. Against a side like England, who've got some attacking options throughout the lineup, I feel Amanjot Kaur can sort of,
just throw them off. Keep them guessing.
Yep. So it can work both ways. It is a double-edged sword where Amanjot Kaur with her variations could flummox their batters, but on the other hand, if she becomes too predictable, I also can see English batters really giving her a rough end of the bargain. Exactly.
Get on top of her. And,
Yep. So, wo ek hai, but of course, fingers crossed she will do well for Team India. Jemmy has been a massive positive for Team India during the tri-series, and I just hope that she continues and keeps up that good form over here in England as well. Because like you said, with the top 3, and I do agree with Gaurav, something I've been speaking about for donkey's years is the fact that right now I truly think that India's top 3 is very one-dimensional. I don't mean that in terms of the way they take on certain options. I mean that in terms of the way they start. All 3 of them take their time to start. And in modern day cricket, be it ODIs, be it Tests, be it T20Is, you cannot have too many of such players doing that. You can have at best 1 or 2. 2 is the most. You cannot have 3 of your top 7, top 6 batting at a strike rate of 70s or 80s. And that's just not done. With Harleen Deol, in fact, I remember in some of the ODIs, तो पहले 20 ball में 6 run, 7 run. If the conditions demand it, if it's if a bowler is in the middle of a very good spell, sure, then ठीक है, time लो. But आपको start ही वैसे करना है तो it becomes very difficult. That's where I felt कि someone like Shefali Verma could have been the differential between India and their oppositions. But I mean, maybe in their infinite wisdom, the management has seen a lot of good in Pratika Rawal. Fair enough. She's also not done anything to merit an axe, like we spoke about earlier. I mean, who did we speak about that? We were talking about Tanuja Kanwar. What has she done? So similarly, so that way, theek hai, samajh mein aata, but yeah, it's going to be very tricky and a very challenging series. So one that I'm super duper excited for. It'll be fun. Of course, the India-England ODIs happen after the T20I series is concluded. First up will be the 5-match T20I series that starts on the 28th of July, coming live from Kia Oval, of course. And then after the 5 T20Is will be the 3 ODIs, including one at Lords. That'll be an iconic game for sure. Coming to the T20I squad, of course, let's have the names out. There you go. Like always, of course, the usual suspects up first. It is the likes of Smriti, Harman and Jemmy starting up. And from there, if you look at the
crux
batting
of the
lineup,
squad, yeah.
a major change. Shefali Verma back into the Indian setup. Contacts maybe usko grade bhi diya gaya tha, so clearly it seemed like Team India were backing her. It's not like she isn't in contention for any of the formats. But happy with Shefali Verma's inclusion firstly, Neha.
Absolutely. I mean, Shefali Verma was always in the scheme of things, right? I think we spoke about this in our previous episodes as well. That the fact that she's given a contract clearly goes to show that the Indian team has not entirely axed her from the setup. I think this is a point that we've been talking about, that instead of looking at Shefali as like, you know, an all-format player, just look at the value she brings to T20s, right? We've seen her do that time and again with Delhi Capitals, and her being in this T20 squad is a sign of great things, right? Because she can bring in that sort of a value, those, fiery starts with, Smriti Mandana up top, because India did experiment a tad bit. I remember the series versus South Africa and all of that, where just a lot of names were thrown into the pond, but it just didn't work out. Shefali Verma has made a good case for herself thanks to the domestics and the WPL at large. So I'm very pleased to see her here. Let's see how she, eventually is able to crawl her way back into the ODI side of things. But right now, with the focus on the T20I side of things, great to see her name. I think she's again going to be a starter for sure. Plus, India might also want to use this series to look in a long-term perspective, because the next T20 World Cup is happening in England, right? So just want to see, what kind of a squad do we want to play here? What are some of the mistakes we make? How can we get better from it? But I think Shefali Verma definitely won't be a mistake, because she's played in these conditions. She's played in the 100 before as well. Was hoping she'd get a gig somehow in the domestic side of things, but maybe she's just taking a break now. Long story short, really happy to see her in the T20I side of things, and common sense finally prevailed that, you don't have to look at a player across all formats. If they can offer something in one, maybe you can seamlessly transition them to the others,
Yeah, common sense and better sense prevailing there, and I'm happy with Shefali Verma's inclusion, of course, well deserved, goes without saying. I was trying to think, when was the last time India played a T20I? Was it the World Cup? I don't think they've played a T20I post that. They played New Zealand, they played that ODI series against New Zealand. That was just ODIs. Then Australia only ODIs. West Indies, they played 3 T20Is, correct? Where the likes of, kaun thi yaar? Raghavi Bish, Uma Chetri, and Raghavi Bish made her debut there, correct?
Yeah. A lot of experimentation happened
there. Yeah, a lot of first choice options weren't also available. Harman was also not there, right, in that series, if I'm not wrong. Might be wrong. Yeah.
She was a part, I think. Yeah.
Only wasn't a part of the Ireland series in that case. So, it's been a good, 6 months, I would say, since India last played a T20I. Some interesting names, once again, the likes of Shuchi Upadhyay, Sri Charni. I'm sorry to say, yaar, my question is, once again, in the infinite wisdom of the BCCI management, if a certain player hasn't been picked for your domestic franchise league, do you think she is there to be in the top 15 of the country for that format? I don't know. I just don't know. And that's what makes me question ki why. Like, what have you seen in Shuchi Upadhyay? Like, kuch bhi hame pata nahi hai. Like, I really hope she does well. She shuts my mouth. I have to eat my own words. I'm happy to.
I mean, she did well for Madhya Pradesh in the senior women's one-day trophy side of things. Was third highest wicket taker, 18 wickets and all of that.
Sure, but once again, same question. But agar tumhare domestic competition mein, jahan pe what on an average you would see about 60 domestic players being picked across the 5 teams. If you're not being picked, then something is wrong somewhere. And I don't think it's a WPL. And once again, the same question arises. What did Tanuja Kanwar do wrong for her to not merit a spot even? Like, I really thought she was good. I thought she was just as crafty as someone like a Sneha Rana. What I said about Sneha Rana to a major extent, I would also say about Tanuja Kanwar. She was very smart, and that's what I like about certain players, and that's the kind of players I want in my side, who are street smart, who understand how to adapt. Because you can't go ahead with your plan A's and expect it to come good for you game in, game out.
But again, this could be probably BCCI's way of just, rewarding domestic performances, because Madhya Pradesh was the winner of that.
But this is not the format where you should do that. Na?
I agree, they shouldn't have.
करना ही था तो संस्कृति गुप्ता को लेके जाते भाई. like, I'm sorry to say, she also showed. She bowled very well. She's a very handy left-handed batter, a gun fielder too.
Agreed.
So again, matlab, okay, I get it. Sanskriti Gupta, maybe you don't want because you have Sneha Rana, you have Deepti Sharma, you've got enough options. Just thinking out loud.
Yeah.
But it isn't the BCCI's prerogative to just reward domestic performances. Sure, you should also
Don't
do
do
that.
it blindly.
हाँ, करने के लिए मत करो ना कि हाँ डोमेस्टिक परफॉर्मेंसेस हम करते हैं तो फिर वृंदा दिनेश को भी ले लो डोमेस्टिक परफॉर्मेंसेस अच्छे थे करके सो that's where, like, what is the thinking behind that? What is the rationale? Because you have someone like a Sri Chani who's anyway going to do just that. Do you need two young slow left armers right now? Given that Radha Yadav seems to be clearly out of contention.
Yeah, which is very surprising. Even just looking at the T20 squad further, right? The inclusion of Harleen as well did come as a tad bit surprising because I think when you look at India's T20 side of things, the makeup of the team, I don't know where she slots in. Just maybe having someone like a Kiran Navgire or Bharti Fulmali, right? I'd have been so interested to see something like that because I don't think Harleen's game is, I think we've discussed this, very tailored to the T20 side of things. I know she's put in some good knocks for Gujarat, albeit all the conversation we've had about strike rates, but maybe inclusion of such names also could have been good.
I get where you're coming from, but Harleen herself did not have too bad a WPL. She came up with a few good knocks. In fact, we all remember that 50 odd, 70 odd if I'm not wrong in the chase where she really paced her innings very well. So wo tha, we did see a bit of it. Kiran Navgire, I still think has a lot more to prove before she makes a comeback. Bharti Fulmali was also a decent shout. But I don't know about Harleen Deol itself. Where would she come in? I genuinely don't know. Wo top order mein fit kahan pe hoti hai? Because once again, same question. Why not someone like a Kanika Ahuja? What happened there? Once again, another option who was picked for the Asian Games. Uske baad injury hua. Uske baad she's been completely thrown out to the wolves in the doldrums. We don't know what's the scene there. And coming back to some of the other batters, most of them pick themselves. So you don't need to worry about it.
Smriti and Shefali opening.
Exactly. You've got someone like a number
With
3. Harleen at number 3. Yeah. In all likelihood, given this. Because personally, I would have gone to Yastika because Yastika had batted then. But yeah, WPL उनका कुछ ज़्यादा
Very lean.
इसीलिए. So given that backup के तौर पे रखूंगा मैं, so I wouldn't have her in my first 11 right now. And amongst the options we have, Harleen seems to be the number 3, front runner for that number 3 slot. Number 4 you've got Harman. Number 5 Jemmy. Number 6 Richa. Number 7 Deepti.
Sneh, then Deepti.
Sure. Number 7 Sneh. Number 8 Deepti. 9 Arundhati. 10, 11 I'm guessing Sri Chani will. Oh, Amanjot.
Kahi to.
You need 3 pacers. I think it will be Arundhati, Kranti Gaud. Amanjot has to be there. That means Sneh Deepti can't play. Or Sri Chani can't play. Interesting. It'll be one of those conundrums that they will have to look at. Sneha Rana has done really well, but do they want that matchup option of a left armer who can take the ball away from right-handers? Because make no mistake, again, England's top order is completely dominated by right-handers, something we spoke about during the World Cup as well. अगर वो Freya Kim को number 7 पे ना खिलाए तो उनका top 6, top 7 हमेशा right-hander से ही भरा रहता है. So yeah, given that maybe someone who takes the ball away makes sense. Once again, it's not like England में आपको बहुत purchase मिलेगा, but you want to have that matchup option like always. So who makes a way out? In all likelihood, it will be Sneha Rana, not Deepti Sharma.
Yeah, actually.
So Deepti at 7, Arundhati at 8, 9 I would have Amanjot at 8, Arundhati at 9. Oh, Amanjot at 7, whoever. Basically 7, 8, 9 would be Amanjot, Deepti and Arundhati. 10, 11, Kranti and Sri Chani, of course. I guess this would be a well-rounded 11 on paper. But
batting depth a lot of bowling options as well.
Correct. So on paper it looks good, but maybe if they want to back experience and someone like a Sneha Rana again, you don't need to worry about Sneha Rana not doing well against right-handers. She's done well enough, so wo bhi ek consideration hoega.
Also, having played in England conditions, maybe that could give her that
the
sort
experience.
Of,
That's
chip
true.
On the shoulder.
That massive chip on the shoulder, if one may say so. So agreeable there too. Fair shout. But once again, that's why I thought that the squad could have been better picked. There were a few more options that were left out in the middle that could have been picked. कि यार मतलब try तो कर ही सकते थे. But interesting, once again, not the worst of squads. A few grumblings for sure, but ठीक है. We will still be backing them, and there will be some names that we will be looking forward to. ODI series में Pratika Rawal for sure. T20Is में Shefali Verma for sure, because I still do think if she does well there, and if Pratika Rawal has a lean ODI series, they might even consider Shefali opening for the Australia series.
And Pratika coming in at 3?
Pratika out. क्योंकि हरलीन मतलब हरलीन ही है. So I'm just saying, just putting that thought out there. I personally wouldn't want that. I would want Pratika to play irrespective simply
Yeah.
because now it's too close to the World Cup. But having seen the amount of chopping and changing that's been done, I wouldn't be surprised if something like this is also done
Fair enough.
for the Australia series. That happens in September in India, right?
Yeah.
The 3 ODIs. So that, of course, will be happening much later. This was the chart around the India-England series, of course. There was another series that recently concluded in England. The West Indians were there, unfortunately, were whitewashed 3-0. Hayley Matthews still managed to eke out 2 Player of the Match awards in that series.
Player of the series also.
Player of the series too. So, Neha, matlab, in some sense, a bizarre series, but England will be happy with how the Charlotte Grant era has begun.
Absolutely. I mean, they couldn't have asked for a better start, right? Because a lot of eyes were there after the whole women's Ashes debacle. You have your head coach and your captain stepping down. This was the start of a new era. And I'm glad they actually won in the fashion they did. Probably, playing a series versus West Indies. Just, up their morale and ego. A lot
Proper
more,
moral,
right?
morale booster.
Yeah, at no point West Indies looked like they were going to give in any sort of competition. Again, you see very similar themes emerge that they're heavily dependent on Hayley Matthews to, bail them out of trouble. And a point that she brought up later in the press conference as well, that a lot of the players just don't have that much international experience, let alone, domestic experience. And if you just compare, like, I know Hypercause did this entire tweet of, comparing the stats of the players, having played domestic matches, and you can clearly see Zameen Asman ka farak.
Hayley was third on that list.
Yeah.
Uske baad sirf, first to our England, then Hayley Matthews, then it's only England players till the end,
Yeah.
and then it's followed by a procession of West Indian players. I agree with you. There's a clear lack of experience, and see, that gap can only be bridged by playing more cricket.
Absolutely.
So the more they play, the better they get. But my biggest concern wasn't the lack of experience. Sure, they handed a few debuts and all of that. But they weren't the issues. The fact that they're experienced players, like I know Chanel Henry not being available was a massive miss.
Stephanie Taylor.
Yeah, Stephanie Taylor, Deandra Doughton, none of them were there. But yeah, Alia Alain, Zaida James, Shameen Campbell. Zaida James, I know is a youngster, but she's been playing for a while now. And Afi Fletcher, man, that last T20, मतलब क्या कर रहे हो यार? अगर आप लोग अच्छा नहीं करोगे तो फिर कौन करेगा? Because you guys are the ones who have to take the baton forward and do something. That's where I was slightly disappointed.
And even England, okay, there was this 1 over of Charlie Dean. I think this was the third T20I where there were like 3 continuous chances England dropped. Like there was one, I think Nat Silverbrand dropped. There's another one, I don't remember who the fielder was. One Amy Jones thing. It's just bizarre that West Indies still couldn't make the most of it in spite of, England probably botching up a few fielding things here and there. Again, goes to show they don't probably have that sort of match awareness or, being exposed to match situations that, kind of challenge you so much. West Indies definitely has a lot to introspect because as long as, they win against smaller teams, it's fine. But then you go through the whole grind of qualifiers, you come unscathed. But against the tougher teams,
इस बार तो by the way वो भी नहीं हुआ. Qualifier भी तो ऐसे by a hair's breadth they had to miss out on a World Cup spot. But on that as well, yeah, like to be honest, firstly they will have to figure out what do they want to do with Kiana Joseph. I don't think she's
match fit.
Yeah, match fit छोड़ा. She's not an opener. She isn't. I'm sorry, I know I might sound very harsh, but you've got better options, yaar, and that's where I'm so disappointed with Zaida James. She had such a good opportunity to prove herself. 3 T20Is at number 3, just the promotion that I wanted, the promotion she needed.
Yeah.
And all 3 games में she had failures. And failures as in ऐसा भी नहीं कि low scores है 0 of 1, 1 of 2, 7 of 16 था ये game. आप ball भी खा रहे हो, आप run भी नहीं बना रहे, then again it becomes very difficult, right?
Absolutely.
That's why I was like, she is there. I think she has a lot of potential. She has the technique to survive. It's just
very baffling that she's not able to make it.
Yeah, and just give yourself some time. By that I don't mean कि dots खेलो. Just singles लो, rotate करो, हर ball छक्का नहीं मारना. And Kiana Joseph, I'm sorry, there's no technique. It's very clear. Length ball डालो, take it away from her, keep bowling outswingers from over the wicket. You know, if it's not in her arc, she will not be able to do anything about it. So what's the point? And it's not like her bowling is being used enough. And in all fairness, I'm sorry, I'll also have to question Hayley Matthews' captaincy a bit too. It's not like her captaincy or she's been good tactically. Hayley Matthews, the player, Hayley Matthews, the batter, the bowler.
Class apart.
No two questions about it. In fact, she's the only reason why the series seemed closer than it was.
And they had something to defend.
Exactly. But, yeah, Rabi, for instance, in the second T20I, Zaida James, 2 overs, 2 for 4. doesn't bowl another over after that. Sorry, 1 for 4.
Exactly. I was also very surprised. Why did you just underbowl her?
And again, a side that's packed with right-handers, no left-handers. Though game in the second T20I and the third T20I, she had Danny Wyatt Hodge out, first ball of the innings.
Yeah, Danny Wyatt, yeah.
So, what were you like? Again, just some of the options. Afi Fletcher, despite not bowling well, got a third over, conceded runs, 3 overs, none for 29. Maaf pe bhi. Matlab, that's where I felt tactically they were slightly off. Of course, some of their first 11 players, starters not being available, definitely
Hurt their
played a
prospects,
massive role. Yeah, but I do think tactically there is a lot more scope for improvement. So hopefully she, of course, she also learns and gets better at it. Coming to the England side though, what do you make of some of the names here? Because once again, Sophie Ecclestone not being there, of course, was said to be unavailable. Yeah, injured and
Was
all of
playing the
it.
domestic side of things and
Exactly.
doing very well for Lancashire.
Lancashire, yeah.
Who went on to win the T20 competition as well, but yeah.
How do you look at that, yeah? Because Sarah Glenn hai, Lauren Bell didn't do too badly, of course.
Charlie Dean.
Do you think there is any merit or any even thought कि Sophie Ecclestone के बिना ये लोग आगे बढ़े कि this is just a temporary, this is like a reminder to कि Sophie, आपको अपने fitness पे काम करना है. You'll have to work on your fitness to ensure that you are doing your best for Team India.
I think in all fairness, this
For
is...
Team England, not for Team India. Apologies.
Yeah, I think this is just a timely reminder to her that, you're not above the game. You still have to, go back, work on your fitness, work on your game. It's not that her game-wise, performances have been bad. But then England probably felt, just a series versus West Indies, and you still have so many options in your bank, right? So in that sense, they didn't really have to fret on, Sophie Ecclestone is not playing. Maybe they can, have her come in later for some of the other series, that's probably lined up for them. They have the 100 that's coming up. So much of domestic comps also sort of happening. But again, just to elaborate a little on the England's positives, I think M. Arlett did amazingly well. I was just watching that, episode of hers where she was talking about, not having enough confidence and, not feeling that she belongs here or she's good enough, overcoming all of that anxiety. Like, it's great to get to see the
episode of hers where you can also tell that.
Yeah, I think it was on the Wisden's podcast. Okay. And I'll definitely share the link across with you all. But it was a very like some conversations really strike a chord with you, right? I think that was definitely one of that. Have seen her do well in domestic comps and in the 100. Coming to the England side of things and, doing consistently well was, I think, a massive positive. Sophia Dunkley doing well.
That was the name I wanted to talk about. Yeah, Sophia Dunkley. What do you make of that?
I mean, as much as people have a lot of criticism about her, I think you only, I think a lot of people have criticism about her, batting stance, the way, she kind of plays some of her shots. I think she was just fantastic. There were times when West Indies was, kind of challenging her with those short balls, those bounces and all of that, but still looked pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
And even the likes of Heather Knight, I think maybe, the captaincy burden off of her, she's like an entirely different person. Each match she's just approaching, bailing England out of trouble. Nat Silverbrand didn't look her prolific best. I'd say, she's dropping a few catches here and there. Bowling wise, also, Charlotte Edwards has told that we may not really be seeing her, bowl this summer. So, as a batter, you'd expect her to step up. That third T20, seeing her get dismissed after the kind of start she had was a tad bit disappointing. But Heather Knight just, kind of taking the entire onus of the batting was a massive positive. And she still brings so much value to the setup. It's not like she's a washed England captain, who's just there in the team for the sake of it. So, I was really pleased to see that.
Yeah, I mean, that was a fantastic 66 if I'm not wrong. Her first 50 in England. And I was shocked by that stat for first T20I 50 that is in England after having played 12 years of international cricket.
And having led England for so long.
That's as bizarre a stat as it gets. And unfortunately, again, she will also be a very big miss for England, of course, ODIs mein because of a slight niggle in her hamstring that happened during the said knock. Of course, she won't be available for the ODIs. Alice Capsey does come in. But yeah, definitely positives to look at for England.
Even Lauren Bell, right? The way she was bowling in the series, right? For the longest time, I think we've been such fans of her rhythm, the way she comes in.
Her action, she's got that way. Technically speaking, she's got a very good action. बहुत run up भी बहुत smooth है उनका. She's also changed her action, modified, remodeled her action a bit in the last 12 months, and that's worked wonders for her. She's also developed that outswinger. पहले वो inswingers ही ज़्यादा डालती थी. So it's good to see her do well. But it's that same thought that comes to my mind जो मैं प्रतिका रावल के लिए बोल रहा था तब कि England, I mean, sorry, Ireland, West Indies, is sab theek hai. But come to the big teams, can you do well? And I'm not talking about Lauren, but I'm just talking about England. These, like you said, there were a lot of slip-ups. They managed to win or whitewash the series despite that and not in spite of that. Can they be able to do that against India? I don't know. The margin for error will be a
I
lot
think that will
lower.
be the biggest test for them, you know. Like getting these wins will definitely up your morale. But against the tougher teams, and when I say tougher teams, I can literally just think of Australia because that's a team where the margin of errors is just like
Oh, yeah.
literally nothing, right?
Yeah.
So that's where you'll really, really be tested, and that is something I'm, quite looking forward to at the World Cup or whenever these teams, square off against each other.
Yeah, and I hope the venues also come out, yaar. I mean, sorry, venues bolta hu. I hope the schedule also comes out soon, yaar. Matlab, ab tak nahi aaya. We just don't know. I hope from the bottom of my heart that I get to catch a few games. It'll be great if Australia, England happens somewhere down south. I'd love to see a couple of India games as well. But anyways, it'll be interesting for England, of course. Up next, they've got ODIs against the Windies, and then after that, it is the India series. They haven't announced their squads for the India series yet, so they will probably wait for the ODIs.
Which was a
here to-
wise move in my opinion, because they probably just wanted to see how this series
Yeah,
pans out
exactly.
and then reward those performances for the series against India, because in the domestic competition as well, right? You have so many names who have just been doing incredibly well, like Emma Lamb, man. She's someone I really
Oh,
want to see.
interesting name. Interesting
Yeah.
name. I've actually, like Jeet, the friend of our podcast, we've
yeah.
had conversations on her. That's a very interesting name. But again, जगह बनती है क्या England के 11 में, squad नहीं, in the 11 itself.
It's probably going to be a tough one, but probably just being in that 15, being a part of the England setup in some regard,
Fair shout.
Even Paige Schofield, I hope.
Paige Schofield.
Schofield, yeah.
Yeah.
I think she'd be another interesting name. Has scored runs in heaps. It's just very sad that she's not there. Even Georgia Elvis and all of that.
Ooh. But once again, right, a full strength 11, if they are on the field, then all of these options go out. Like even Sophia Dunkley, I don't know if she'll feature in a full strength 11. So it'll be difficult for sure. But again, I guess these would be happy problems for England.
England, definitely. Yeah,
So they would be
problems of plenty.
exactly taking a lot of confidence from the fact that these aren't their first choice players. So they are happy with how, the sort of bench is also getting enough game time and how it is strengthening itself. And going forward, of course, with the India series coming in, I'm expecting the likes of, Sophie Eccleston and all of them to come in and be a part of the setup. So that'll also be a very fascinating watch. Like we said earlier, 20th of June is when that series starts. 20th of June is when that series starts. And I feel on that note, it is time for us to end episode 19 of the Women's Cricket Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are trying something new, by the way. Of course, you guys would have figured that out. Do let us know in the comments, what do you make of it? I know that we've done the previous 18 episodes live with all of you guys. It is that we are trying something new. We want to see if this works out better. We want to reach out to as many people as possible because it's important for us to grow the community as well. Do let us know if there's anything we've missed out on. And of course, importantly, why do you think Shafali Verma should make the World Cup? Until then, it's a goodbye from both of us. Stay tuned. We'll be back here very soon.